Web app or mobile app? Get this wrong and you might end up wasting 6 months building something that nobody wants, and I don't want that for you guys. Here's how to choose between the two. So let's clear this up right, because most founders are confused between what these are between the two. A web app runs in your browser. Think of the web apps like Gmail, Notion or Canva, where you go to their website and it works like a normal everyday app, but there are no downloads required. And it works on any device with a browser, including Safari, Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, whatever browser that you use on your smartphone today in 2026. A mobile app, on the other hand, is downloaded from the App Store, including from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, where think of these everyday apps like Instagram, Uber, WhatsApp. These apps are actually installed from these app stores and actually installed on your phone. But this is where it gets interesting, right? Because you can also build something what we call a progressive web app. So it's basically a web app that feels like a mobile app. And you can also build hybrid mobile apps that also work across platforms as well. So the real question isn't just web or mobile. The real question for you guys is, what is the fastest, cheapest way to get my app in front of users? And for most founders, the answer isn't actually what you think. Let me tell you why most founders push towards a web app at the start, which is a great advantage, because you can literally launch it on day number 1 and not 3 months. With a web app, you build it once and it works everywhere. On the iPhone, on an Android device, a laptop, a tablet. It doesn't really matter. There's no waiting for the App Store approvals, no different versions for different devices. You push for an update and it's instantly live everywhere. Mobile apps, on the other hand, you're building for iOS or Android separately, or you're utilizing a cross-platform solution like React Native or Flutter, and that still requires testing on both platforms to make sure that everything is working correctly. And then you submit it to the app stores, and then you have to wait 2 to 7 days for approval, deal with the issues that come from the feedback from the app store submission and all that, and then fixing them and then resubmitting. It takes time, and this happens every single update. And the second advantage of starting with a web app at the start is because you can literally test your idea immediately. When apps allow you to iterate fast, you can literally get feedback tomorrow, literally within that week. So there's no app store reviews, no version fragmentation, and there's no forcing users to download updates. And this leads to getting validation for your app idea, where you can literally test your app concept with real users in days and not waiting for weeks or months on end, submitting your app to the app store, hoping that it doesn't get rejected, and then if it does get rejected, then you have to fix those errors, resubmit it. It's just more time and energy of having to submit your app idea to the app store. But mobile apps aren't dead, because there are actually specific scenarios where you actually need a mobile app for your app idea. So the first reason being is that you're using specific phone features for your mobile app. So this could include the camera, the GPS, the push notifications, biometrics, offline functionality. Mobile apps actually handle this a lot better than standalone web apps, because if your app relies heavily on these features that I outlined just before, a mobile app would make a lot more sense here. The second reason, I've got to clear my voice. The second reason being is that your users expect an app store presence. So some products just feel a lot more legitimate with an app icon or on someone's home screen on the device. So this could include gaming apps, social platforms, or daily use productivity tools. Users would expect to download these from the app store. And another reason being is that you need deep platform integration. So if you're building something that needs to work seamlessly with, say for example, the Apple smartwatch or with the Apple Health, or integrated deeply with the Android iOS, then you're gonna need a native mobile app. And another reason, which could be the fourth reason, is that your competitors have only a mobile app. So if you're in a market where everyone in the market has a mobile app and you just show up with a website, you might look a lot less serious. So the context for this particular app idea, the context would matter in that scenario. But here's the thing, right? Most founders actually overestimate how much they need a mobile app, and actually underestimate how good actually web apps have actually become to this day and age to develop for the app idea. So here's the mistake I see constantly, right? So founders will spend tens of thousands of dollars and 6 to 12 months building a beautiful Android and iOS app. They'll launch it out onto the app store, and then they launch it and they get like around about 100 downloads, and then everybody else forgets about it 2 to 3 months later. So why is this the case? It's because they've built the wrong thing, and they're in a market that doesn't really care about that mobile app in the end, or their idea just wasn't validated right at the start. If they just started with a web app at the start, they would have only spent between $5,000 to $10,000 and maybe 12 weeks prototyping their idea and launching it out onto the market, and then still realizing that maybe they would need to pivot their idea, but they would still have the funds and the time to figure it out. So what I would recommend here is you start with the MVP, start with a minimal viable product. For most apps, this you can utilize a no-code prototype where you can test out your concept, prove it to people, show it to them, and actually expand to a mobile app when it actually makes sense. So don't let your ego or assumptions drive your platform choice. Let your users and your data drive it and get the feedback as well. Because mobile apps are powerful, but sometimes they're actually not necessary, especially at the start. So if you guys need any help with deciding between developing either a web app or a mobile app, or you're ready to actually implement your app idea and bring it to life in the shortest amount of time possible, I can help you out with that. What I would invite you to do is to click on the link below to book in a call with me to discuss how I can personally help you bring your app idea to life in the shortest amount of time possible. I only work with a maximum of 2 people at a time, and people who are ready to go, not people that need to think about it for 3 months. So if you are interested in working with me, book in that call, and thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.